Hello, hello, lovely people of the world. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. This week we are going to be talking all about audition interviews. So this kind of applies for both drama schools and for professional auditions. There's usually some kind of interview style, get to know you, questions back and forth element to most auditions. And it's worth talking about because people tend to kind of have a little freak out when it comes to auditions and doing interviews with them. So before we dive into that, just a reminder, if you really like this information, if you find it valuable, then please just like and subscribe and tell loads of people about it. I would super appreciate it. Right, okay, let's get into it. So audition interviews are weird depending on how you approach it. And it can be really, really tough because when we audition, we're going in and yes, there's a bit of us, but then we launch ourselves into being a character and we give all of the energy there. And as actors, we tend to be a little bit more comfortable being other people in front of other people than we are with just being ourselves in front of other people. I actually found for a long time I was super comfortable being in front of an audience until it came to the curtain call of a play, and then I was like, I feel really uncomfortable, this is awful, because you're not the character anymore. It's just you and you have to be you. Along with the fact that bows just look a little bit odd. But for the most part, it was just the fact that I was really uncomfortable just being me in front of other people. And we're not totally familiar with that as actors. So it's something that we need to get used to. So that's one reason why you could potentially find interviews in auditions a little bit tough. The other thing, and I find this a lot for people who are auditioning for drama schools, because you're not applying for a particular role within a project, it's very much about you and whether you are fit and ready and somebody that they want to have on their course. So it is kind of more you orientated. So the interview feels like it's a test, which it isn't, but it does feel that way for a lot of people who are applying for drama schools. So let's just start by debunking that myth that audition panels are there to interview you purely to test you and purely to try and trip you up. It is not the case at all. Speaking from experience as somebody who has sat on drama school audition panels, the last thing that a panel want to do with an interview, with somebody who is nervous and somebody that is putting everything on the line and trying really, really hard to get onto a course that they really, really want to do, the training that they really, really want. The last thing we want to do is stress you out by testing you. That's just not what we're there to do. If I'm to be completely honest, what audition panels tend to use the interview stage for is to check that you're not a psychopath. That you're someone that they kind of go, oh yeah, you're kind of mostly free of red flags, so let's have you on the course. They want to check that you're just a nice human being. And this doesn't mean that we want to be impressed by you, that we want to be in awe of all of the fantastic things that you are or are not. It gives us the opportunity to just get a flavour of who you are as a person. And it also gives you the opportunity to sit there and figure out whether you want to work with us as well. Not every actor is going to enjoy a project, and not every person applying to a drama school is going to like the school that they're applying to. It is a two-way street. You're actually auditioning the school as much as the school is auditioning you. You're auditioning the director as much as the director is auditioning you. And once you figure out that it's actually on an even plane, that you're on an even kind of footing with the people that you're auditioning for, instead of it being a status battle that you are not worthy and you're hoping that they choose you, the earlier you realize that it's actually a collaborative experience where both sets of people are just trying to figure out whether you fit or not, then the better it will be for you when you go into an interview. Because the instant that you start treating it like a test, you start to feel exposed. So you want to protect yourself, you clam up, you get more nervous, or you start acting in ways that you haven't previously. There's an element of arrogance that comes out in some people, and it's usually just a defense mechanism because they're uncomfortable actually showing the true person that they are, or they feel like they're under attack or being tested. So there's a certain kind of fighty element or arrogance that comes out, or you retreat even more and it becomes apologetic and meek and weak, and they're not the things that you want to be approaching your audition interviews with at all. We want to be able to have a healthy back and forth with you, and they're usually in the form of questions because we are curious to find out about you, and we want you to be curious about us as well. We want this kind of creative, collaborative back and forth with you, and that's not going to flow naturally if you feel like you're under a test or you're under attack. And that's a totally natural thing for actors to have. We're so used to playing other people that when it comes to us just having to be us, it gets a little bit scary and a little bit unnerving. Because in auditions, you fortunately get to just hide behind a character. You get to hide behind some text. And in an interview, you don't know what you're going to be asked. You don't know how they're going to navigate the whole interview, the panel themselves. So you're kind of at sea, having to be you in a very kind of perceived exposed way. So with this, it's actually kind of figuring out that you have worthiness, you have authority, and you are an equal to the people that you're auditioning for. That there's no need for pretense, that there's no need to kind of show up as someone that you're not in order to impress. Because we want to see you, and we want to see what makes you you. We want to see what makes you unique. Because you are unique. You are someone that is completely set apart from anybody else. And this goes for professional actors as well. They want to make sure that you're going to fit within an ensemble, but they want to figure out whether you're a person that they want to work with. And they're not going to be able to figure that out accurately if you're pretending to be somebody else. And there's this lovely saying, which is, you can be the ripest peach in the world, but there are just some people that don't like peaches. And it's totally true, and it's totally harsh, and it's totally true. There are just going to be some companies or some directors or some drama schools that you don't gel with. And that happens on the flip side as well. So you might not get on with a director, you might not get on with a particular audition panel, and that is okay. Because they can be the ripest peach and you just don't like peaches, and that's okay. Start to find some confidence and some grounding in the fact that you are just you, and they can take that on or they cannot. And this is completely separate to arrogance. So you find sometimes as a defense mechanism that some people will come in with, well, this is just who I am, deal with it. That's toxic, that's incredibly negative, and that's a big red flag when it comes to auditions. That is a big defense that says, I do not want you to come any further. And quite frankly, no one wants to work with that. So there's a big difference in, well, this is just who I am, deal with it, and this is who I am, and I'm not willing to change that in order to get a job or get a place at drama school. I'm confident and grounded enough in the belief of who I am as a fully rounded person that the rejection or the acceptance from you will not counter that out. So there's a toxic and a healthy approach to that. Got to be really mindful of the fact that auditions are opportunities for collaboration. We've got to get into the mindset, both for drama school auditions and for professional auditions, we've got to get into the mindset that actually auditions are there as a collaborative experience for a group of people to come to a common goal. And that goal could be to cast an entire show, or to fill 25 or 30 spaces in a drama school year group. All of you collectively and equally are coming to that conclusion. The more you start seeing the audition panel as equals, the less you will see them as gatekeepers of something that you want so desperately, because that will put you in a really low status state of mind. Now this is another thing, and it comes up as that kind of classic question in just regular everyday job interviews, which is, what's your biggest weakness? This seems kind of like a cliche question, but it's a question that I really, really like. Not in its essence, but in what it's actually attempting to understand with the person that is being interviewed or auditioning. It is trying to get a sense of how aware you are of where you're at on your kind of journey and where you wish to go to. So it's actually more a question of awareness as opposed to figuring out how they deal with your weaknesses. They want to know how aware you are of yourself, of your surroundings, of where you are in the grand scheme of things. Because if you don't have any sense of self-awareness, then that is going to be really tricky to actually work with. So don't try to be all things to all people on the audition panel. And by that I mean, don't say that you're passionate about something to please somebody when you're not passionate about that thing. And don't say that something is in fact a weakness for you when it's not. Don't try to play into this idea of thinking, well, this is what they want to hear, and trying to be all things to all people. Because one, it's transparent, and two, you're sacrificing who you are, your self-integrity, in order to get something. And that might seem like a strong tactic, but it will trip you up in the end. You're going to stretch yourself really, really thin in what you bring to the table, as opposed to being the nuanced, unique, bespoke version of you. So don't people please in order to get something. My top tip when it comes to interviews within auditions, for both drama school and for professional auditions, and hands down, this is the thing, as an audition panel member, as a director, as an actor myself, the thing that I take away, whether I am auditioning or whether I am auditioning others, the thing that really makes me prick up my ears and go, I like this person, is their capacity to listen. And I don't mean just hear what you're saying, I mean truly listen. And this is a component that we have within our actors' practice, that idea of listening and responding instinctively in the moment to propel the scene forward. That needs to be incorporated into your everyday life. So actually taking the attention away of it being a test for you, so you're the one in the spotlight, actually opening up and creating more of a conversation within the interview and listening to what people have to say is going to really, really propel you forward. It's going to make you memorable in amongst all of the other people that are coming in, and viewing it as a test or viewing it as all about them. If you're actually willing and able to sit and listen and invest and take on and digest everything that other people are saying to you, that will be noticed. Listening properly in interviews is actually a really beneficial thing if you are nervous, because it forces you out of your own head. You can't have the same amount of inner monologue going on if you are truly paying attention to the person that is speaking to you. You want to be focusing on listening in order to understand, not listening in order to please or listening in order that you can speak. Listening to understand is the thing that is going to really, really set you apart. And the best way to begin doing that in your auditions is if they introduce themselves with their name, repeat it. Repeat it back as you are greeting them. Try to retain that throughout the audition. If you're able to then ask a question and have their name there that they mentioned 10-15 minutes ago, that will not go unmissed. And again, it's not about people pleasing and it's not about sucking up. It is a demonstration that you are able to actually retain information about other people and it be about them as well as you, that it's a collaborative exercise. And in order to listen, they've got to have something to say. And in order for them to have something to say, you've got to ask questions. So there's always the opportunity within those interviews to ask a question. And I always encourage you to go in with questions. And again, it's not about trying to impress and trying to give them what they want and be all things to all people and asking questions in order to compliment. Find things that you were genuinely curious about knowing the answer to. Now, whenever I talk about this, the example that always comes up for me, I was sitting on an audition panel for drama schools a good few years ago, and we were interviewing this person and everything was going really, really well. And then they asked this question and I instantly went, oh my gosh, brilliant. And the question was, what are the things about this school that make you want to work here? Now this question, it was bold, it was curious, it was inquisitive, it was confident, it was mature, they were equal to us. And from a panel point of view, no, I did not feel like I was being tested. I did not feel like I was being attacked or confronted in any way. They were genuinely curious. So it's not necessarily just about the question that you ask. It is the reason why you ask it. It's the energy that you ask it with. Because if they ask the same question with those same words, but with the attitude of, why the fuck do you want to work in this dump? Then we would have approached it a little bit differently in the way that we actually answered this person. But they were genuinely curious about our responses and they listened. They listened to each of our answers, which were completely different. And the best part was that the person actually collaborated with us, had a dialogue, a back and forth in reference to the responses that we had. It was incredibly mature. And you think that this would come from a person who's got a few years on them. I think this applicant was in their late teens. And the thing was, they had a fantastic audition up until then. They did sight reading, they did workshops, they did all of this kind of stuff. And that is the thing that I remember. Now that's not to say that, okay, this is the question that is going to land you a place at drama school. That's not the case. It is the openness, the curiosity, the energy with which it was asked, and the curiosity of actually getting the answer and being able to collaborate and have a conversation around that subject was the thing that sold me. So if you're going to take away nothing else from this video, just take away the fact that, one, auditions are not tests. They are collaborative experiences where an audition panel and an auditionee that are going to come together and work for a common goal. That you're both equal and that you're actually auditioning each other. And two, don't try to be all things to all people. Don't come in with some kind of curated, censored version of who you are and second guess yourself because you want to impress particular people and be a particular thing to the audition panel. They'll probably see through it, or they'll be hiring someone who isn't actually going to show up on the first day. So be truthful and confident and grounded in who you are as a person and just put that out there to the world. I'm not saying that everybody's going to like it, because not everyone will. But would you rather be liked for a person that you're not and then forever live in fear of them seeing the real you? Or would you rather go in with that truthful approach from the get-go? I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. And if you did, just make sure that you click like and that you subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any questions or any comments, then just make sure to put them below and I will get back to you. But until next time, thank you so much and bye.